So yeah, you were saying Anthony Joshua is a phenomenon. I mean,
Yeah,
that is a one in a
he-
million thing, isn't it?
he's a phenomenon for what he's achieved and what he's accomplished in the sport of boxing. This amazing what he's done. But like I said, boxing in the 70s compared to what we have today is totally different. But like I said, um, um, I'm truly grateful for what Turkey Al Sheikh is doing now because he's getting the best guys to fight the best guys, and that's a good thing.
I had the privilege. For me, it's a privilege speaking to the late George Foreman, and I asked him as well. I said, look, what is the difference? Why don't people fight each other? And he said sometimes fighters can't say, look, I'm actually scared. And I think he touched upon that, and it got me thinking as well. Like, back in the day, people actually may put their hands up saying, I'm not getting in the ring with that guy. The honesty there I actually admired. He never said he said that, but he shared that with me, and he thinks nowadays he, you know, with everything that's happening in terms of social media, people sometimes are afraid to say, look, no, I'm not going to get into the ring with that guy.
Well, we've seen this time and time again. 1974, Ken Norton was actually afraid of fighting George Foreman. He was actually afraid. He was frightened. 1988, Michael Spinks versus Mike Tyson. Michael Spinks was actually afraid. You could see it when he was walking to the ring, but he still went in there, held his licks, and took his bumps and bruises. It's we're living in a different world now, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And uh, another heavyweight that people are saying, look, this is going to be the the next coming of Mike Tyson is Moses Atumu. He's a phenomenal boxer, phenomenal talent. He's taking on Dillian White in Riyadh, I believe in August. What are your thoughts on Moses? Is he capable of?
Moses of Ghanaian descent. I like for everybody to Ghanaian, sorry, my apologies, of Nigerian descent. I think he's Igbo, right? So the correct pronunciation of his name is Itama. It's Itama, Moses Itama. Um, and and because it's a kind of unusual name, and oh Moses Itama, no, it's Itama. That's how his name will be pronounced back home. Moses is a phenomenal human being, right? Very athletic, very explosive, and he's you can see he's a very deep individual. You can see that he's constantly thinking. You ever speak to him, you see him. He's a very intensive human being, right? And because of that, he's being groomed to be this next big star.
Mhm.
But and this is the thing, um, I think we have to go back to I think it was 1979. There's a guy called Dwayne Bobbick who was a heavyweight in America and like really good, really good heavyweight fighter. Um, Competed in I think it was the '72 Olympics, and everybody's ranting and raving about Dwayne Bobbick, uh, and he had really good handlers as well. I think he was being trained by Eddie Futch,
Mhm.
if right, and they put Dwayne Bobbick in with Ken Norton, and Ken Norton completely ramsacks, right? So every fight gets these kind of, well, because you're a hot guy, you're coming through, you're going through the
Yep.
ranks, and then they put you in with somebody who had a good name but is slightly jaded. But when you do that with these fighters, you never know when the old fighter themselves will just pull one out of the bag, right?
Yep.
Is Dylan White expected to win this fight? No, he's not. Many people think that it's a foregone conclusion. I'm not one of those people who think that's a foregone conclusion simply because I know Dylan White. And he's a very tenacious human being. And Moses Atama is a southpaw. So he leads his power shot is his left hand. When you're dealing with southpaws, the key shot for a southpaw, everyone says to throw the right hand, and I agree
Mhm.
with it to a certain extent. But the left hook is a key shot. And I kid you not, D, try and find a better left hooker in the heavyweight division than Dylan White. So,
Yeah.
I know you're thinking, right.
No, no, no.
And I'll say this.
I was actually going to say. I'm glad you touched upon the foregone conclusion thing because nothing in boxing, in my opinion, is a foregone conclusion. You just don't know what the old dog can turn on,
Well,
and
the
you
thing
only
about it is
get one
this:
at a time.
if Dylan White is purely motivated for money in going into this fight, then he's going to lose, right? If Dylan White fancies it, anybody with a heart beat and blood running through their veins has a chance. 10-ounce gloves, and you are a guy that's going to be weighing like 140 pounds. Anybody's got a chance, right? But for boxing, for boxing purity, it'd be great for Dylan to win this fight, right? But for boxing as it is, where we are looking for the next star to come through in the heavyweight
Yep.
division, then it would be catastrophic if Dylan White was to win, right? But I have to just be real. This fight is not a foregone conclusion because if Dylan White is up for it and relishes the challenge, anything can happen.
I mean, that could even open up the door if he does win to another AJ fight, right?
Well, not even AJ, but if he got that win, he could potentially end up fighting the winner of Dubois and Usyk.
Yeah, no, that would be crazy. I wouldn't say crazy, but that would be an absolute turnaround, right? I mean, if
It would be.
fighting
It would be.
for
It would be.
all four belts. I mean, looking at that fight as well, we're 5 weeks away from that one, Wembley Stadium. Um, what a cracker as well. You know, Dubois gets another shot at the crown again. He was ever so close the last time. But do you think? I mean, Don Charles executed. He said he's going to execute a great game plan as well. But how do you see that fight breaking down? It's going to be an interesting one, isn't it?
Um, if I'm Don Charles, I would study Usyk versus Michael Hunter,
Hmm.
and I would study Usyk versus Derek Chisora, the kid that he used to train, but he didn't train him for that fight. But the style that was um, um, put upon Derek Chisora was actually came from Don Charles because Don Charles wanted Derek Chisora to be a mixture between Ken Norton and George Foreman.
Hmm.
So um, I would say if that was the case, in especially in a fight like this, that's the fights they would be trying to study because what you don't want to do with Usyk is try and end up in a boxing match,
No.
right? Because when you do, that's when you're going to be behind on points and everything else. I believe that Daniel Dubois has a fantastic chance in this fight simply because he's got a rejuvenated confidence. Um, he's very strong. He's most probably the most heavy-handed heavyweight in the world today. He's very heavy-handed, right? And if he can just go and stick it on Usyk, which that's the only way that I could see him winning a fight. I can't see him winning this fight on points. I could see him sticking it on Usyk and forcing the stoppage. Everybody knows that Usyk is susceptible to the body. We could argue whether the body shot was high or low. We don't care,
Mm-hmm.
right? Bottom line is you was being comprehensively outpointed right throughout all the other rounds,
Mm.
right? And when you did throw the shot, whether it be low or not, it was called low. Usyk, being an old pro, will make a meal of it to recuperate because the pace was still high. And remember, at that time, Usyk wasn't settled as a heavyweight then, right? Right now, Usyk is properly settled as a heavyweight,
Yep.
right? 2 wins over Tyson Fury, 2 wins over Andy Joshua.
Mm.
You now are set as a heavyweight. And because you're settled as a heavyweight, unless you was to miraculously get old overnight, I couldn't see a properly on point Usyk losing to Daniel Dubois. But what I can see is I wouldn't be shocked if Daniel Dubois stopped him in about 4 rounds. Just went and stuck it on him.
Just running down, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Just running
But
down.
that's the only way that I could see him winning because Usyk knows how to fiddle. Usyk knows how to stall rounds. Usyk knows how to take breathers in rounds. Usyk knows like I've taken a breather now. I'm going to come back strong in the next round. He's got this vast experience that you cannot buy. You have to experience the experience to have the experience, and that's what Usyk has.
I mean, if Usyk was to win, Spencer, we always talk about the losing fighter. Where does he go from here, and so on and so forth. But he's done everything, hasn't he, Usyk? I mean, what else is there left for him to do? I mean, I personally speaking, I think people would be happy either way, right? If he wins and retires, and because he's absolutely conquered everything there is now. I mean,
There is nothing else or nothing more for him to do. If Usyk was to win, what's he, 37 now?
yeah,
Right. If he was to win, I'd like to see Usyk call it a day because there's nothing else for him to do.
he's done everything, hasn't
Right.
he? Yeah.
He's done everything. He's being the best of his era. He's beaten him. Right. He didn't have to fight Deontay Wilder because Deontay Wilder couldn't stay up there to get the challenge for him. There is nothing else for Alexander Usyk to do.
Yeah.
He's made a shitload of money. He's been undisputed champion in two weight divisions. Yeah, sail off into the sunset and let these young kids go and pick up the 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 fragmented spoils of championship belts.
Spen Spencer, who's one to watch now that people haven't got an eye on? Who would you say in the heavyweight
Well,
division? I mean, who's one that we should keep an eye on?
the one that I believe that we should keep an eye on. Sorry, man.
It's all right.
Yeah, sorry. The one that I believe that is actually we spoke about earlier is Moses Atama. He's the one that we should keep an eye on in the heavyweight division. Who's coming up right now is Moses Atama. We should be really greatly watching him. I think he's a very very special talent. But he has to come past Dylan White. But he to me, he's the one to watch in the heavyweight division. Like if you're talking boxing on a whole, um, I really, really do like um, Abdullah Mason. I think he's superb,
Hmm.
and he's gonna most probably end up being a world champion in the next few months anyway, because he'll end up fighting for Keyshawn Davis's now vacated world title. I could see him coming out on top in whoever they put him in there with. They're talking about Sam Noakes. Sam Noakes is a good guy, very good fighter, very, very good fighter. But I just think that kid's very, very special. And Brian Norman, the WBO welterweight champion, he's kind of going underneath the radar. But if he keeps on knocking out people like he did against Asaki the other day, you cannot help but keep on watching him. I think he is. I think he's something very, very special.
And that was a show like, sorry, a show reel knockout, wasn't it? What we saw yesterday.
It
Um,
was amazing.
yeah, the picture looked good as well. Just two more for me before we let you go. The Boxing Grand Prix is taking place today and tomorrow. We've got a young fighter there in the name of Gully Pound representing the UK. I don't know how much you've had a chance to study the WBC Grand Prix. I think it's a good tournament to be fair for young up and comers coming up through the ranks and making a name for themselves. What have you seen of it so far?
I saw the Ghanaian kid just fight. I saw that he knocked out some brother, vicious knockout. Um, I haven't, I haven't really sat down and watched it because in the weekdays I don't watch boxing. I wait till the weekend and I
Oh,
cram it.
okay.
You know what I mean? Daddy duties and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm on that as well.